Templeton. Making good progress here. Stephen Elliott up there with him. It opens up for Templeton. Wonderful goal. Hearts are first to show in the Edinburgh derby. Individual inspiration from David Templeton.
Oh, it's terrific. Picked up by Templeton. Templeton again. Oh, Rain has made a complete mess of it. Can you believe that? They've gone crazy in the away end.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel off the Underside. Hope we're all good. Today we're joined by another fantastic guest. He's a wee tricky winger, still playing to this day. He's ex-Rangers, Hearts and Hamilton winger, Mr. David Templeton. David, how are you, pal?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Very, very good. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you taking a wee out of your time tonight for us. So I appreciate that, pal. Thank you.
No worries.
For you guys who watch the podcast regularly, there's also another new face in the bottom. It's Graham, who I've had the pleasure of interviewing before. He's a big Hearts fan, so I thought that I would ask Graham to come on and speak to David, because I know he's a big fan of him, and obviously, like I say, a big Hearts fan. How are you, Graham?
Absolutely fantastic. It's great to be on and great to have a chance to talk to David as well.
Brilliant, mate. So David, on this channel, pal, we like to go back to the very start when you grew up in Glasgow. What's your earliest memories of kicking a ball about, basically?
As far back as I can remember, to be honest. Primary school, just always had a ball. Anytime I finished school, I was always just going home, getting in, getting changed, getting my ball and going out in the streets and playing football. Even lunch breaks was always football as well, which I think's a bit different from the way kids are now. I don't think you see it as much now. So yeah, but that was a thing back then, was just everybody was out in the streets playing football.
Aye, mate, we're talking about that quite a lot on here, man, how you never see kids anymore playing in the streets and that. And personally, I think it's a big deal as everywhere you go, you're not allowed to play football anymore. You know, when I was younger, you go to school grounds, football grounds, and play there. And everywhere you go now, it's just like no ball games, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I do think it kills it. And then even like some of the Astro pitches now, it's obviously dear to get on them as well. It's not like it used to be where you could just climb fences and get on it. I think now the kids probably get packed off the pitches a lot more than it did back then. So yeah, I think stuff like that is killing, obviously, the kids playing football.
You grew up like around football, like with your dad and stuff like that. Did you always know you were going to be a footballer, or was there ever a point you thought maybe I'm going to be a spark or something?
No, never. It was always just football. Which, when I look back now, it's not a good thing to be like that. But my mindset was just always I was going to be a football player. Didn't plan for anything else. Which, as I say, now if you want to tell kids that now, it's not a good way to think, because it is a difficult thing to do. So I was just quite lucky that thankfully it worked out for me. But yeah, that was my mindset all the time, was just that's what I was going to do as a job, and that was it.
I was watching an interview with you today, and it kind of annoyed me. Again, we hear this a lot on here, was you were at Aberdeen for a period of time and they said you were too wee. I mean, that really annoys me, man, because like the amount of players out there who grow on and have great careers in that, and they're told they're too wee, man. What's your memories of playing for Aberdeen, mate?
Yeah, it was good. I can't remember what age it was. I think it was about 12, 13. We used to train at Hamilton Palace, and we would travel up to Aberdeen every second week. And then, obviously, wherever the away game was, we would obviously travel that every other week. But yeah, I enjoyed it there. I'm trying to think who else was there at the time. Chris Maguire, who obviously made it. We had a few other good boys, Marshall, Boy Liam Higgins. So it was all good boys I trained with and played with. So it was enjoyable. It was just obviously unfortunate the way that it ended, which I think's happened to a lot of kids in Scotland.
Definitely. Were you always a winger? Was that your position?
No, I was a striker. Back in those days, I was a striker. I probably came a winger. I think the first time I played wide was with Stenhousemuir. I'm trying to think if it was under Des McKeown or Campbell Money. They put me wide, and I played a couple of times, and then it was more so when I went to Hearts with Darren Murray. He just played me there all the time. I think I started the first couple of games as a striker, and then just drifted wide.
So was it straight from Aberdeen to Stenhousemuir, or was it a period you were at?
No, I went back grassroots to boys' club. Went and played with my mates, which was probably the best thing for me at the time, because when you leave Aberdeen, you think that's it. Basically, that's your dream of being a football player over. But yeah, I went back to my boys' club teams. Played a couple of years there and just really enjoyed playing again. And then someone I knew had got me into Stenhousemuir, and it just took off from there.
In Stenhousemuir, you pretty much played every game, was it, when your first season? Just going 11 games or so?
Yeah, well, I signed for the under-17s at the time, and I think I played up to about November. I think it was November, and I got into the first team, travelled to East Fife away, and just being a young boy, I thought I was just going to help with like the kit and like put the strips out and stuff like that. And it turned out I was on the bench. Didn't think I would go on. We're losing 2-0 to East Fife, and Des McKeown flung me on. With, I think it was about 25 to go. And we ended up winning 3-2, and I scored the winner. And then ever since then, that was me. I was in the first team, involved every week.
So were you confident at that point? Did you think, I can kick on here and make a good career out of this?
I was always confident. That's the one thing I always had. I always believed in my ability. Anywhere I went, I always felt I was the best player. That was just my mindset, which some people might not like that, but that was just the way I was. I just believed that I was always the best. And I think sometimes you have to be like that. You've got to have that self-confidence. If you don't, then I don't think you're going to make it then.
A lot of people talk about, the lower leagues at that point, do you think that was a good apprenticeship for you? Obviously, get up the levels, eventually going to Hearts and then Rangers and that. Do you think that was a good grounding for you at that point then?
Definitely. And I had some good pros at Stenhousemuir with me as well. So, like John Paul McBride was massive for me, because when he was at Celtic, he was like the next best thing, and he made a lot of mistakes. So he would basically talk to me and tell me what to stay away from, what mistakes he made and what to not do, basically, which was really big for me. And also a guy, Colin Cram, who was excellent for me as well, helped me a lot, and Paul McGrillen, who sadly is not here now, but there was some really good pros that helped me. I think, as you say, that those lower leagues definitely grounded me. And then even when I was at Rangers, going back down to those grounds, I knew what it was all about, so it definitely helped.
Imagine it was like a school of hard knocks as well, being a tricky winger. I don't imagine they were easy tackles. I don't imagine there were a few, just a wee shoulder barge. I think there would be a two-footed tackle here or there.
I don't think I actually got anything bad at that point. I think most of the time I was coming on as a sub, so I think a lot of the defenders were all tired by that time. So I could obviously, at that time, I had pace, and so I never really get caught with any bad ones. It wasn't until later in my career I would get a few.
So you had a couple of years there, mate, at Stenhousemuir, and then you move on to Hearts. How did that move come about?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I was trying to think when it was. I think it was this summer. I went on trial to Newcastle, and then I was supposed to go back down in January, and it was generally right at the start of January. My agent phoned just saying that Hearts had an offer accepted, and to go and speak to them. So I went, and for me at the time, I just wanted to go full-time football. I thought that would benefit me a lot. And yeah, I was happy just to sign there. So literally as soon as I went through, spoke to them and signed a 5-year deal, and that was it.
Making the jump from Stenhousemuir obviously to Hearts is massive, but what was the point when you thought to yourself, I can handle this level that I should be in here?
Well, for me, going from Stenhousemuir, I signed with it was under 19s at the time. So I went back to play basically like kids football. So it was, I wasn't with the first team, wasn't training with the first team. Because obviously, as you say, that jump was far too big. So yeah, I went back 19s, played there. And then I think maybe when I was about 20, I went on loan to Rafe Rovers as well. Because I was playing 19s and stuff and reserve football. But then I wanted to back out, play men's football, play against first team players. And I went with John McGlynn, which was brilliant. Really, really good manager. Liked him a lot. So I went there. I played, I think I went, might have been the end of November. It was only supposed to be 1 month, and then turned into the end of the season. But I played most of the games at the start, and then near the end of the season, I drafted out the team again, which probably helped me because it made me realise that I had to, like, ability doesn't just get you playing every week. I had to obviously work hard and get better tactically off the ball and everything. So yeah, it was good as well for that.
Like earn your spot a wee bit.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think you can go from these bigger clubs and maybe go on loan and think you've got a right to just play when you don't. You've got to earn the right to play.
I
remember you came off the bench against Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Me and my mate were there. It was cold. It was a horrible night. It was a weeknight. It was an absolutely dreadful game that finished 0-0. But me and my mate went back down the road, and the only highlight we had was you. You came off the bench. You beat about 4 players for a shot at goal.
And I should have scored.
You talked about having, you talked about believing in yourself. Was there a particular person that you kind of modelled your game on, like a winger? Did you look up to somebody that you thought, actually, I want to be like him?
No, the person I used to always watch when I was younger was Brian Laudrup, to be honest. My brother, he was a big Rangers fan, and he had these DVDs or videos at the time, and I used to always watch them, just the way he'd go by people, and yeah, just wanted to be like that, to be honest. And when I came into Hearts first team as well, I was really direct. Everything was just, as soon as I get the ball, I wanted to beat people. And I think that's what happened with that Aberdeen game. Because I came on right-hand side in front of Robbie Nielsen, who was really good for me. Robbie was really like a defensive right-back. He was always really good that way. So it just allowed me to go and attack whenever I got it. And that's why I should have scored that one when I went by those 4, and I think it was Langfield made the save.
It was Jim Jeffries that signed you. What was it like working with Jim Jeffries? Because he's obviously won the Cup in '98, had a great season then. What was it like working under Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown?
Well, that's probably my most enjoyable period in football was under Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown. Because they made me believe that I was the best player in the world. So every game you went into, you were so confident. He always said to me, every time I got it, he'd just take people on. He didn't care if I lost it, because he says 9 times out of 10 I'll probably lose it, but that one time I'll score or create a goal and it could win the game. So every game I went in starting, I just felt amazing.
See, when you first were any Hearts in that, and obviously after your loan spell at Rafe Rovers, was there anybody else, in the senior, any of the senior players that took you under their wing and kind of helped you, relax at Hearts a wee bit?
Well, the one that was really good with me was Paul Hartley, because he stayed through here when I first signed, and he was friends with John Paul McBride, so he knew me from JP. So when I signed, Zeke used to come down to London Road and pick me up from my mum's, and he would always have a bottle of Lucozade and a paper in the car for me every morning driving through with, which at that time for me, I was just a young boy. He was I think he was in Scotland squads and stuff even at that time. So for me, that was like a big deal for somebody like that to look after me like that.
Do you remember your first goal for Hearts against Hamilton? And what was the feeling when you scored that?
I remember it was actually Brian Easton, because I used to give him a bit of stick about it. Me and him were going for it, and I've went to get it. He's managed to get his toe to it, but flicked it over the goalkeeper, and I've ran round and basically got a tap in. So yeah, it was an unbelievable feeling. Not the best goal in the world, but they all mean the same thing.
I will be talking about the most memorable goal you probably scored in your career. But I was just going to say, like, you worked with what's his name? Vladimir Romanov.
Yeah.
Aye, but how was he like to deal with? Was he in the dressing room a lot? They talking to you boys, or was it you didn't really see him as much as the people would imagine?
No, you didn't really see him, to be honest. We never really dealt with him. It was only the odd occasion you would see him. It was never at games. It was only at training he would come in the odd time. But generally, I was there 5.5 years, and you're lucky if I seen him even more than 5 times. So, yeah, it wasn't. I think it was more the managers and stuff that had to deal with him.
I might have got this wrong, David, but was there not an episode where Romanov stole your boots?
Yeah, it was. I was going out to training one day and I'd got new boots. So I went into the boot room to put them on. They weren't there. So, yeah, I didn't know where they were. Put on my other boots, went out to training, and Romanov had them on, hitting shots into his interpreter. So,
I've heard that story. I didn't know it was your boots, man.
Yeah, it was my boots, yeah. So,
I
to be
remember.
fair, he was paying my wages, so you can't really see it. Can you?
Can you get right
Just applauding on the side.
This might come up in your best goals, but I remember a goal at Easter Road. They took the ball just over halfway line. We won 2-0 that day. Stephen Elliott scored the second goal. But you went on a mazy run from just inside Hibs half, beat about 3 or 4 Hibs players, and stuck in the bottom corner. Do you remember that goal?
Yeah, that's actually my favourite goal, probably throughout my full career. Just because I used to love the Edinburgh derby, especially Easter Road. I always enjoyed them more. I think Tynecastle was a bit tighter, probably didn't get as much space, whereas Easter Road was a bit wider. I always found I had more space to get on the ball, take people on. So I did always enjoy it there. Plus the stick you would get from the away fans as well when you were doing well. So I always felt that made me play better as well. So yeah, that, as I say, that's my favourite goal. Just glad I was able to finish it off when I did do the run.
That is a good goal in an Edinburgh derby and that, but obviously the goal you are really remembered for your time at Hearts, mate, is the goal at Anfield.
Yeah.
You know, Pepe, it was a good strike, mate, but Pepe Reina done your wee turn there, didn't he?
Yeah, I still say it should have been an own goal, but I don't know why I got it.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I think it's because it's on target, but it should have just caught. It could have probably took a touch rather than try to catch it. So yeah, luckily I got the goal, and also when you see the fans and the videos and stuff, it was unbelievable.
Sorry, I was going to say, see when that draw was made, David, obviously Hearts against Liverpool, that first leg at Tynecastle, second leg at Anfield. What were you and the rest of the guys' reaction when it was Liverpool you drew? Were you happy with that?
I don't think we were, to be honest, because we had because obviously the year before we got Tottenham and we took a scudding off Tottenham the first game. They were unbelievable. So when it came to the next year, we beat Pax the first round. So then we were hoping we'd get something maybe with a chance to go through. So then when you see Liverpool, you're thinking it's another Tottenham, really. Like, although you want to play better teams, we were wanting to get to the group stage. I mean, there's like Gerrard, Suarez, Carragher. It was going to be a tough task, and we done all right the first game. Big Webby scored an own goal. It was unfortunate. So you're still in the tie going down there. It's going to be really tough because they play Gerrard and Suarez, who didn't play the first leg. So you're thinking, deep down, you're probably thinking like you're not going to get through. But yeah, once I don't think they had a lot of the ball, but didn't cause too much problems. It was as if they were playing in second gear, to be honest. And then when I scored, it's like they just turned the gears up, and Suarez scored a few minutes later.
Probably just underestimated you at that point, didn't they, man?
Maybe, yeah, because they had a good team. They probably maybe they did think it'd be easy. Sometimes those games can be hard when it's like that. But they did, as I say, Suarez turned it on when he needed to.
I have to bring this up, David, because my brother-in-law told me to say this. So me and my brother-in-law couldn't get tickets, so we went and watched the game in the pub in Curry with my father-in-law. When you scored that goal, we all celebrated, but my brother-in-law jumped up and he went like that and put his fist through the glass light shade that was there and basically cut his wrist open and ended up in A&E because of that goal you scored. I got the blame for that. I don't know why, because it wasn't my fault, but it was honestly, and he still, even to this day, doesn't regret it. It was an unbelievable moment because for 10 minutes, for about 10, 15 minutes, the scoreline in the top corner said Liverpool 0, Hearts 1. It was iconic. You mentioned it there. The celebration behind that goal. I mean, when you went to those fans, that must have been an incredible feeling. Yeah,
it was unbelievable. Obviously, at the time, I didn't realise, you're running to the fans, you don't see the full picture in terms of the crowd. It's when you see the videos back, you can see people falling downstairs and you see exactly how mad it was. It's even now, anytime I speak to Hearts fans, that's what they speak about. So it's obviously brilliant to still be associated with that and what it means to fans. Even though we didn't win the game, you can just imagine what it would have been like if we'd actually won.
See, as a player, David, see obviously the first leg at Anfield, I mean, they had, Tynecastle, they had Reina, Carragher, Raheem Sterling, Henderson, Charlie Adam. See, when you go to the second leg and they bring back Steven Gerrard and Luis Suarez, are you guys thinking, actually, I don't mind that because they're bringing back their big guns, or are you thinking, oh no, here we go?
Yeah, you're probably thinking we could take a down here because, as I say, the first leg of the Tottenham game, I think we were 3-0 down after 12 minutes. And that's because they had played their big players like Gareth Bale, Van der Vaart, Jermaine Defoe. So you're deep down, you're thinking this is going to be tough because they're bringing out Luis Suarez, who was unbelievable at the time, and obviously Gerrard as well. So, yeah, to still even be in the tie near the end of the game is, we're thinking it's going to extra time. But as I say, Suarez they stepped it up when they had to. And that's what they obviously had levels they could go to.
Did you get anybody's shirt over that tie?
I got Jamie Carragher's in the second tie. I didn't get anybody's in the first. I'm not really one for swapping shirts and stuff, to be honest. I've only had a few throughout my career.
What was John McGlynn's kind of tactics for that second leg? Because you mentioned it there. I was at the Tottenham game and that was horrendous. What was John McGlynn's kind of tactics for the second leg? Was it just keep it tight and try and hit on the break?
Yeah, pretty much. Those games you've got to defend well. You're expecting them to have most of the ball. You're trying to limit them to minimal chances and hope that you can hit them on a counter. I think that game, if I remember right, I played as a 10 and I was getting on the ball to try and obviously get us up the pitch a bit. And the goal actually came from a corner late on. So, yeah, it was just a case of try to keep it tight, try to stay in the game. Don't concede early, because if you concede early, as I say with the Tottenham game, you concede early and you end up, you take a bit of a doing. So, yeah, it was just make sure we keep it tight, limit chances and stay in the game.
I've watched the game back on Liverpool TV and they were singing your praises. You know, when you scored that goal, they said there was the one player that was going to score, it was going to be you.
Yeah, I felt I actually played quite well that game when I had the ball. As I say, it was on me being a ball carrier whenever I got it to try and get us up the pitch. Because if you don't keep the ball at times, it's just going to be backs against the wall non-stop. So, yeah, I think sometimes in games like that, you need a ball carrier to try and get you up the pitch, maybe win you fouls and just break the game up a bit for you.
I remember at the time, I'm a Celtic fan, and I thought, aye, that boy's a really good player, that we should be really interested in him. Then a couple of days later, you broke, you kind of broke my heart a tiny bit. I know you broke Graham's, but how was it going into Rangers at such we'll say, unique time, and obviously the finances and stuff like that. But what was it like walking into Ibrox during those years?
Yeah, it was a weird scenario how it came about, because obviously we just played Liverpool. We stayed down there after the game and we trained at Everton's training ground the next day. And then there was talk of potential bids going in, but nothing concrete. And then it was on the bus on the way up, I got the phone call to say that Hearts had accepted the offer and that I had to leave. Basically, gave me no choice. It was go and sign or you won't play again. Because at the time, Hearts were obviously struggling financially, needed the money, and so I went straight to Murray Park, and that was it. I signed. So
did you not want to go, David?
It wasn't a case I didn't want to go. It was, I think if I knew there was better options, maybe at the end of my Hearts contract, I only had a year left, then maybe I would have waited. But I couldn't afford to not go and sit and not play football, because then that limits your options completely as well by not playing for a year. So when I got told I wasn't going to play again, I would train with the kids, and for me that just sealed it for me that he go and sign.
As you mentioned earlier, mate, obviously you go back down the leagues again with Rangers. How did you find adapting going back the way, you're not going back the way in your career, but like back the way as in the football level? Did you thrive on that because you had played at the top level at that point?
What was the first game was obviously good. That walking out at Ibrox, 50,000 fans. It was excellent that, and obviously scored too. But then I picked up an injury in my second game, which that wasn't ideal. That put me out for 3 months. So when I came back and got playing again, it was fine for me. Like some of the games, you know yourselves, sometimes going to the smaller teams, it's a cup final for them. Like going to the away grounds, and I think people think, it's going to be 5 and 6 nils every game. It wasn't like that. Some of the games could be horrible. As I say, like us going to Liverpool, sitting in, making it hard to break down. That's what teams would do with us. And it was, some of the games, as I say, were harder than they should have been. We probably at the time didn't move the ball quick enough and stuff to break teams down. At Ibrox, it was always fine on a big pitch. Most games we did win comfortable, but the away games, and we had brought in some foreign players that I think it was a bit of a culture shock for them, going to these small grounds, like Emil Kribari, who'd played for Lazio in the Champions League, to then going to like Oakville to play Stirling, and it was totally different for some of these players.
The weight of expectation, especially at the time for Rangers, was that, did you thrive on that, or did it feel like a burden at times? Because obviously the Rangers fans, they thought, we're going straight back up type of thing, and it wasn't really as easy as you said.
It can be difficult when you know yourself as well, being a Celtic fan. When things are going good, it's amazing being there. When it's tough, it can be really hard to play in. So like sometimes if you weren't winning within 20 minutes, you hear the groans, the misplaced pass, you hear the fans on your back, and I think some people can maybe hide a bit when it's not going well. Don't want the ball, don't want to try killer passes, because if they give it away, they can hear the groans, and I think that can affect people. I wasn't so much that type of player. I would still try the hard pass. That's the way I was. Like that my full career. So, but it can be difficult at times when it's not going well. Like, definitely.
See if folk doubled up. Doubled up on you. Did you enjoy that?
I would just take it as a compliment if that happened in games. And for me, that's probably where, when I was younger, I should have been more intelligent in terms of when that happened. Sometimes I would still try and take people on if I was getting doubled up on, try and beat the two of them. Whereas I should have been more intelligent to think, right, if I'm getting doubled up on, there's space somewhere else, so probably move the ball quicker rather than dribbling. But it's not until you're older you realise stuff like that.
That's funny we're talking about this, because we were talking about this the other day about how wingers, they very rarely take on the man anymore. I just see wingers constantly cutting inside, and do you agree with that?
I think that's the way football's going now. I think players are overcoached. You don't really, as you say, like for me, the worst one was Jack Grealish when I was at City. Like, I loved watching City, but Jack Grealish at Aston Villa was always beating people, winning fouls, and then when he was at City, he was always turning back, passing it inside, passing it back the way. Never really tried to take anyone on. He's went back to Everton, and it looks like he's got that freedom again to go and try and beat people. And I think sometimes it's just coaches and their preference as well. I think now a lot of coaches are coming in and it's just pass, whereas they don't want people going and try to beat people.
Definitely look at the Scotland team, right? You know, you've got all these brilliant centre midfielders, you know, John McGinn, you know, McTominay, all these guys. We've not got any wingers anymore. They were crying out for wingers.
Yeah, the only one for Scotland now is Ben Doak. It's the only one that's like really direct. I don't think we've really produced any wingers in years. And as I say, I think it is down to the coaching as well. I think they just want to pass it. A lot of coaches don't want to lose the ball. They want to keep the ball, keep moving it, wait until gaps open up, rather than try and isolate a winger 1v1 and go and beat him, put a ball in the box. It's not really happening as much anymore.
I think that the clubs in Scotland, particularly in Scotland, I think they take more responsibility for bringing through players. I mean, I just think that in this day and age, it's just constantly by these foreigners. It's just we're not producing, and it used to just be Celtic and Rangers would get away with this. Now I think it's the whole league, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know what the rule is now. I remember when I was at Hearts, there was a rule. Was a 2 under-21s.
Had to be on the bench.
Yeah, had to be on the bench from the academy. And I think that's probably how I got on when I was at Hearts as well, away to Aberdeen. Because I think it was Larry Kingston got injured that game. And I think basically I just get flung on, and sometimes you need that. You need that opportunity to go on, and so if you don't get the opportunity, it's all right training and doing well in training. If you don't get the opportunity in games and show that you can actually handle it, then managers will never know if you're good enough or not.
Going back to your career a wee bit, is you've mentioned it a couple of times, but injuries became like a recurring theme, unfortunately, in your career. How much do you think that shaped you as the player and the person you became?
Yeah, it was obviously not ideal. I think I had a 14-year career, I had 7 years worth of injuries. So it's not ideal that. It was always kind of big ones that I had as well. It was never any really small injuries, so that was unfortunate as well. And you end up, fans just obviously you're injury prone. That's the way it is, and yeah, it's brutal really when you think back, because I missed a lot of my career throughout that. I think I played maybe. You're lucky if I even played 300 games. It should have been double that, really.
What was harder? Was it the rehab, or was it just the mental strength to try to stay positive? Like, it's all right, a few weeks I'll be back playing. So what was the harder? Was it the mental side?
The mental side, definitely, yeah. I think with most of the injuries, you've got the rehab, and you're kind of from the injury to say you're out 3 months. You've got a set rehab, but you know what you're doing, and at that 3-month period, you're back. A couple of my injuries where we didn't know what it was, so then you've not got a set rehab because you're like day to day. So mentally, that can be really tough. And I think in Murray Park as well at the time, the boys would be training on the pitch and you're doing your rehab, looking out the window, watching them training. So mentally, that's hard. Because you could be out for a year. But at that time, I was out for a year, and you're watching them training every day, just wanting to be training. So that can be mentally tough.
Sorry, on you go, Jamie.
No, I was just going to say, on you go, Corey.
I was just going to say, do you think there's enough done in Scottish football to support players, like emotionally, when the injuries strike? Because I know, like you said, you're looking out the window and you're seeing all your teammates training, but do you think there was enough, or was it just kind of get on with it type of thing?
Nah, it's just get on with it. I think there's maybe more happening now in terms of people speaking out, and they might be going and seeing people, and I don't know if clubs are bringing like specialists in to help with it, with those sort of situations. But back then it was just kind of, get on with it, just deal with it. Which, in fairness, I think back in those days that was your way of handling stuff anyway. You never really thought about speaking to anybody. Whereas, as I say, I think now it's getting a bit more acceptable to open up and speak about your feelings.
Not a taboo type of thing.
Yeah.
Good. Just get back to your time at Rangers, mate. I want to talk a bit about Ally McCoist. Obviously, we all know him as being like a cheeky chappy. I'm a big Talk Sport fan and that, and he's a funny guy and that. But what was he like to play under, mate? What was he like as a manager?
I got on really well with him. As I say, my first season I was playing all the time. Trying to think. Second season, I was like in and out constantly. And then third season, what was it? Yeah, it was the third season where he left halfway through. At the start of that season, I had asked to leave. Asked to go on loan to Vancouver. Just because I was in and out all the time, but he wouldn't let me go. But as I say, even when I wasn't playing, I had a great relationship with him. We'd be playing pool together when we'd finish training, and just shooting drills after training, and just a brilliant guy that you can't not like.
Did they have like did they still have a like serious side to that as well?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he would join in like rondo boxes, carry on, and have a laugh then. But after games, if he had to have a go at people, then he would, definitely. And obviously Durante as well.
I was just going to ask, did they still have the skills after all that time? Did they still have the good shot?
Yeah, well, he used to do a finishing thing with Cammy Bell. I've told this to a few people. He'd stand the penalty spot, and Cammy would throw the ball underarm to him, but as hard as he could. And the gaffer had one touch to finish, and it would be like 10 out of 10 for the penalty spot, bottom corners. So then we go back to 18-yard box to give Cammy a chance, and he'd maybe score like 8 or 9 out of 10. It's just his finishing was still ridiculous.
Never lose it.
Nah, it was frightening.
But after Rangers, you ended up at Hamilton, and you seemed to find your spark again. Was that down to the managers, or was it just because you were playing football again that you rediscovered it, like your love again?
Well, once I came back to Hamilton, I just said to myself that basically after that time, and like at the time being depressed and all that sort of stuff, I was just going to enjoy playing football again. I just said to myself not to, because I used to take it bad when you lost games, go home and like just want to be myself, not talk to MD because we'd lost. Whereas when I went to Hamilton, I thought, right, I'm just going to enjoy it. Not, if we lose, not let it affect me as much as I used to. And I think that's what I've done, to be honest. I just enjoyed football again. And we had a sports scientist, Kevin Simon, who was really good with me. He would cater like my running to my style, so I could do my own individual running and look after myself. And I think that's why I didn't really have injuries at that period of time, because he looked after me so well. And I think that's what kept me playing at the time.
I was just thinking there though, mate, that's about a kick in the stones. You know, the fact you could have went to Vancouver and you end up in Hamilton. I mean, I'm from Hamilton. I know how bad that must have felt.
I know Vancouver's supposed to be one of the nicest cities in the world, is it? It was devastating.
Aye, but do they have a Sainsbury's? You know what I mean?
Probably not.
But you were only there for a short period of time, but you got it that you never stayed on longer, or was that like a financial thing for the club that they released a few players?
No, they wanted to sign me again because I had a really good season, and we'd stayed up, and they offered me a new deal, but I had a good relationship with Ronnie McDonald, so I went and spoke to him, and I says basically, look, I wanted to go down south before I retired. I wanted to try it and see what it was like, and I spoke to Ronnie about it, and I said to him, if I wasn't to go down south, then I would sign again, and that's when Burton came in. So that was my decision made up. I just wanted to see what it was like to play in England before I retired.
Who was the Burton manager at that point?
It was Nigel Clough.
Gosh, it was at him, because we were talking to Scott Fraser the other week there, and he basically said that I think it was his first training session, and that Nigel Clough basically, hounded him saying, "You're not in fucking Scotland now, mate."
Yeah.
So, how did you find him, mate?
Yeah, it was good. I really liked him. He's just straight to the point. Me and Scotty actually signed the same time. So we would get it all the time, getting called jocks, and they only signed us because we were cheap and just all that.
I'd bite to that, man. I'd be biting at that.
No, see, like, no, it was good. He would have a laugh about it, but it was, as I say, I really liked him. Had a good team under him, played good football. He was good with like family stuff in terms of at the time my wife was pregnant and coming up for scans. He would give me days off to come up for scans, and just little things like that. He'd look after you, and it made you want to do really well for him.
How would you notice the differences in Scottish football and English football, especially in the lower leagues, when you've played a good amount? Did you notice there was any similarities or huge differences?
You get a lot more time in the ball. I felt, especially for me as a winger, I was always 1v1 a lot more often. I don't know if it's just at the time they don't really know who you are, so they leave you 1v1, which suited me perfectly. A lot more games though, so every Tuesday, Saturday, especially the first half of the season. I think my first season we had good cup runs. I think we'd played something like 32 games by Christmas, which was mental. That's nearly a full season up here. So yeah, that took a bit of getting adapting to, especially for myself, who coming back from injuries and wasn't the fittest. That amount of games was tough.
Fair play to you for playing so many games after, like you said, you had your tough injuries, been out for a year and stuff like that. That's good innings, to be fair to you.
Yeah, it was, as I say, it was good. I did enjoy it down there, and I think because there's so many games, you don't train as much. It's just basically game recovery, session before a game, which is always light, game recovery. So it was just like that, constant.
Obviously, I'm biased, David, but I know you've obviously had a lot of injuries, but I genuinely think at one point you should have been in that Scotland squad. Is there a disappointment that you never quite got that Scotland cap? I know you had a couple of under-21 appearances, but is there a disappointment that you didn't manage to make that Scotland squad? Because you were definitely good enough.
Yeah, I think I actually should have got in it personally as well. It was 2010 season. I got Young Player of the Month for November, Young Player of the Month for December, and then I think we played a friendly against Faroe Islands in January, and it was Craig Levine had said I hadn't been good enough November, December, but I just picked up the 2 Young Player of the Months. So yeah, I thought that I should have got a call up for that game for a friendly, but it went with experienced players, and I remember Kevin Kyle get called up. He didn't go with many kids, so that was the one thing that did frustrate me, because I thought I probably should have had got a chance to even be in the squad.
Yeah, well, we've spoken about this before as well with Craig Levine, mate. You're not a defender, so you're not really getting in that squad, will you? Let's be honest.
I think if it was maybe like Steve Clark at this time when I was playing it, I think maybe I'd have got a call up just for that friendly.
I think you'd have got a call up, mate. But again, though, like international managers, they just seem to always pick the same players all the time, constantly. Their favourites, the guys who haven't let them down. Apparently, even though
I think that happens a lot.
That.
Frustrating, isn't it?
That is even the nice.
It should be. Even I remember 21's game we played Iceland, and I wasn't playing, but at the time I was playing for Hearts and playing really well. And then after I came on for like the last 20 minutes and done quite well. And then after it, the manager said to me he should have started me because I had been playing well for Hearts. Because I think it doesn't really go on your club form. It's, as you say, it's previous games for Scotland. They'll pick players that have done well previously rather than form just now.
and also there's a bias towards, the level that you play at as well. In my opinion, you're more likely to get a chance if you play in the English Championship than you do if you're in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that, and I think it should go on form. Like if somebody's playing really, really well in Scotland, and somebody's on the bench in England, play the person that's playing. They're match fit. They're doing well.
I was just going to say that if Kevin Kyle got a call up ahead of you, I would have retired for international football as well.
Well, that's Kevin Kevin. We were on this podcast. Well done, Corey. Cheers,
Big
mate.
Kev was that point.
Well, I know who I'd rather than my team. A tricky winger or Kevin
I know,
Kyle.
but,
I mean, I'm just being honest here.
Scotland were quite direct at that time, so I could understand him getting picked.
That's very.
Too nice. That was too nice there. But after Burton, you ended up coming back to Hamilton. Was that a disappointing period because obviously you had COVID and you had like more injuries again? Right.
Yeah, that's what my wife had just had my son at the time, so the option to come back to Hamilton came up. It was actually a loan to start with, and I was going to sign on loan, and then Nigel Clough again looked after me, said that basically it'd get me paid up, so that I could just go and then earn another wage. So I ended up got paid up, came signed with Hamilton, and it was good because I obviously knew the club. I'd had a good time there. It was Brian Rice was the manager at the time, who I didn't know, but who I really liked as well. So I was enjoying it when I came in, but as you say, COVID hit. So it was really, really strange. Getting in, testing every day. When you played games, you weren't allowed to celebrate together, but you were basically marking other men at corners for other teams. And so it was just, it was really strange.
What was it like playing with no fans there? Was that just mental? Obviously, you got used to like Hearts and Rangers and even Burton. And
I was going to say, like, for us, obviously Hamilton's not a massive club, so it's not a massive fan base. So for us at home, it wasn't too bad in terms of we weren't missing like thousands and thousands of fans. When you went to like your Ibrox, Celtic Parks and Tynecastles, it was weird with no fans in there, the big stadiums, and you could hear every individual shout for players, which usually when you're playing, you don't hear people asking for the ball because of the fans. And so, and that situation was very, very strange.
So, mate, you're still playing to this day. You played for Drumchapel, now you're playing for Glasgow United. Do you just not willing to hang up your boots at all?
No, as I said earlier, I just enjoy playing football. I think even if I stop playing with Glasgow, I'll probably go and play over 35s until I can't play anymore. I'm quite lucky that I was a technical player, so I can play as a 10 now or even a sitting midfielder. I don't need to run a lot, so I'm quite lucky that way. I didn't rely on my pace, so as I say, I think I'll just keep playing until nobody wants me, really.
So you play a sitting midfielder now sometimes, eh?
Sometimes, just try and get on the ball and dictate play,
Man, that'd
quite
be weird
enjoy
to
it,
see.
actually.
Can't imagine it. Can't imagine that.
No.
Well, you've always got what on football? If it completely goes to pace.
Yeah, I'll do that as well. Why not?
For a kickabout.
Honestly, I just enjoy football. And I think when I stopped at Hamilton for 4 months, I realised how much I missed it. So, I don't want to stop while I can still play.
Is there a young player now that you watch, David, and think he's going to go far?
In terms of where?
In Scotland?
Trying to think, actually.
Bowie at Hibs, maybe? I think he's about the next one.
I'm going to say, although it kills me, I do like the boy Bowie. I thought maybe Rangers Celtic might have come in, try to steal him at the end of the window there, but for a couple of games I've seen for Hibs, he looks very good.
See that goal he scored in Europe, man?
Yeah, screamer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, even just to do that one shows he's got ability, doesn't it?
He just looks, he can finish, he's a right handful as well, and he doesn't stop working. He chases everything.
I don't know if he's of James Wilson at Hearts, but where do you think his ceiling is? Because I'm a huge fan of James Wilson. I love young players coming through. Like, obviously, you came through it, you were brilliant at Hearts, but where do you think like James Wilson could end up?
I don't know, to be honest, because I don't see him playing as much this season now. And if you're not playing games, then especially when he's probably been used to playing the games last season, but because he's young, maybe Derek McInnes is going to look after him a bit more in terms of taking him out of the team and bring them in when he needs to. Because sometimes I think you can overplay the kids as well. So maybe he'll just play now and again, but I think it's down to the fact he's got Lawrence. Then he's brought in the boy Braga, who looks really good as well. He's got Kabanga still, so there's a lot of options there. So it's going to be hard for him to play a lot of minutes.
I was going to ask how you liking the look of the new Hearts under McInnes? Are you excited for the future for them, or do you still see there's rooms for improvement?
No, I think they've looked good so far. I think obviously Derek McInnes knows Scottish football. He's a really good manager, and he's got a good squad there. I like the look of the boy Milne at left back. He looks a very good player. Braga's come in, done really well so far as well. So I think he's got some exciting players, and it's still early doors as well for him. As I say, he's just in the door as well. So for how he started, you couldn't have asked for much more, to be honest.
Could we win the league, David? That's the big question.
No, hold on. Before he answers that question, I just want to say to the Perrys, there's no chance. As a Celtic fan, right, I'm going to speak directly to two Hearts fans here and say, calm down, guys. Tony Bloom has got your wee Hearts, gone and all that, and you think he's got a chance. As for as bad as Celtic are right now, there's no chance. David, I'll let you answer the question now, mate.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think I think it's tough to have that consistency to go for a full season. I don't think we'll really know with Hearts until we see them against Celtic and Rangers. But obviously Celtic and Rangers are both going through right tough periods just now. So if there's any time to do it, it would be this season. On the basis of that game at the weekend, because the two of them did not look great. But we'll see when Hearts play Rangers coming up soon.
Definitely, but the problem being is, right, they've got some really, really good players, but, you mentioned it, it's the squad, though, it's like if a guy goes out, if Shankland gets injured, is there a guy there that's going to score all the goals? I know that Braga looks decent and stuff, but, the thing is, to win a league, you need to be able to replace a player with a level that is, pretty much the same. So that's why I don't think Hearts will do it.
The only good thing is Hearts don't have Europe as well. So, like Hibs have got Europe, and obviously, yourself, Celtic and Rangers, after those games at the weekends can be really hard after a European game.
Right.
So even stuff like that, Celtic and Rangers could drop points with some of those games when they've got those tough European ties.
Get yourself back to Tynecastle, David. There's a place on the right-hand side for you, mate.
I didn't like the right-hand side. I was more a left-hand side.
I'll cut in now. It's all good. My next question is just a bit of a kind of sentimental one. That if a young Scottish player asks for a bit of advice, what's the one lesson from your own career you would want them to hear?
I would tell them to do extra. In terms of when I was at Rangers, I probably didn't do enough, like after training, and so whether it's going and stretching, maybe getting in the pool and recovery, and even just small details which make a big difference. Maybe I picked up injuries later in my career, like muscle injuries, because I didn't do those small details, which looking back now, I wish I did. So yeah, it's not always just about on the pitch. It's what you do off it as well.
What about the future, David? Are you hoping to try and get into coaching and that? Maybe be a manager one day?
Yeah, well, I was coaching for a couple of years at Hamilton, and then I stopped that. I've went into scouting with Hearts, so I scout for the academy there. But I think I might go back into coaching again because I do miss it.
Aye, man, it'd be good to see you as a manager one day in Scotland.
I would like that. Even an assistant manager would be good as well. It's just trying to get in is the hard part.
Scotland job, mate. Might be coming up soon.
I was going to say the Celtic one.
Derek McInnes takes it.
I think I will probably all be McInnes. But Aye, mate. So thanks very much for your time, David. There's a couple more questions before we go. So I'll just start with this. You've played with a lot of good, really good players, mate. See if you had a five-a-side team and you were the manager, who would you pick as your five-a-side team of players you played alongside?
Alongside. Probably go in goals, Marion Kello. He was really good when I played with him at Hearts. I'll go with one defender. I'm trying to think, actually. Yeah, one defender, I'll go Lee Wallace.
Fair enough.
Two midfield, I'd go with... Oh, this is a hard one. Rudy Scatchell's one of them. And then...
Big smile on Graham's face for
Love
that.
that.
Scatchell, his left foot was a joke, man. It was ridiculous. And then it'd be a toss-up between Laria Kingston and Bruno Aguiar. But I think I'll go Laria. And then up top would probably be Kenny Miller.
That's a decent team, maybe fair.
I love the fact most of them are ex-Hearts players as well, which is even better.
I'll be missing a few, I know for a fact, and I can't think.
I like how you're going tactically and all, like one there, two midfield.
I would have had Tavin, but I didn't play long enough with him, so
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I know that's a decent team, mate. I'm having that one. But next question: can you name the three players you played alongside the most?
I'd probably say Ian Black.
I'll just get a page here. Ian Black, number one, mate, 120 times.
Lee Wallace.
Lee Wallace, number two, 100 times.
And then... Right, this is where it gets harder. Mari Zaliukas.
That's the one, mate. Yeah, three. You played alongside him 85 times. You keep going? Who's number four?
Four. Well, I was just thinking of them because obviously they were both Hearts and Rangers.
Yeah. Did he play for Hearts? No, I don't think he played for Hearts. No, just Rangers, mate, with this one.
Oh, was that a Rangers one, was it? I think maybe Lee McCulloch again.
Aye, mate, he's fourth. 5 out of 5 coming up. Go for it.
5 out of 5, so...
I'll give you a clue. This was the fifth one. He's a foreigner. By the looks, it looks like he was Icelandic or something. I don't really remember it, to be honest.
I wouldn't have been Egert Johnson, would it?
Him, mate, aye, fifth. Yeah.
I think you're the first guest to get it spot on every guest.
That's unbelievable.
Usually everyone's like, no him.
I wouldn't realise Egert, to be fair. Don't get me wrong, he did play all the time when we were at Hearts, any position, so it does make sense in a way.
65 times alongside him.
Oh well, it's not too bad.
Sorry, I don't remember him, man. What position did he play?
He kind of played everywhere. He was a centre mid, but he would play centre half, right back, left back. Just a utility player, like a manager's dream, basically. Good player as well.
Brilliant, mate. David, honestly, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You've been brilliant. Obviously, you had a fantastic career, mate, and now you're still playing. Wish you nothing but success for the future, pal. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks very much. No, I appreciate having us on. Thanks very much.
No, I appreciate it.
Cheers,
Thank you.
David.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
See you later on, lads.
Bye-bye. Bye.